The WWE called out for abandoning R-Truth's serious character, the best and worst of WWE SmackDown, why John Cena is facing Logan Paul instead of Brock Lesnar. Cena's heel turn was a waste of time. The real reason why WWE pushed for Brock Lesnar's controversial return, a major update on Cody Rhodes not turning heel as expected, Chad Gable's injury update 5 weeks after surgery, the WWE doesn't care about the Wyatt Sicks, the MFT is a horrible name, Carmello Hayes turned babyface. Let's dive right in. The best and worst of WWE SmackDown. WWE Friday Night SmackDown lit up Montreal with a lively crowd, hot off the wild 2025 SummerSlam. The show kicked off the road to Clash in Paris, but it was a roller coaster of highs and lows. Some moments were thrilling, while others left fans scratching their heads or stuck in slow patches. Let's dive into the best and worst from tonight's SmackDown, covering Brock Lesnar's mysterious absence, a returning star's big moment, and the MFT's overwhelming presence. Number 1. The worst. The MFT took over SmackDown. The MFT was everywhere on SmackDown, and it felt like too much. The night started with a tag team match where Tala Tonga and JC Mateo faced off against the Motor City Machine Guns. Tala and JC came out on top, defeating the banged-up Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin. Later, Solo Sikoa grabbed the mic in the ring, demanding a challenge. SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis stepped in, announcing Sami Zayn as Solo's opponent for the night. Zayn won, but the MFT's heavy presence dragged the show down. Their act is decent, but piling on multiple segments makes things feel sluggish. One match or moment per night would keep things fresh. Number 2. The best. Carmelo Hayes gets his spark back. Carmelo Hayes is back in the spotlight, and it's about time. He marched into Nick Aldis' office, gunning for a title shot, but ran into The Miz instead. The A-lister tried to play nice, but Hayes wasn't having it, calling out Miz for ghosting him for weeks. They patched things up, and Miz revealed they're teaming up for a tag match next week on SmackDown. But something's fishy. Miz might be blocking Hayes' shot at the United States Championship, maybe even lying about talking to Aldis. This is huge for Hayes, who fans have been dying to see more of. It looks like he's inching toward a babyface turn, and this storyline could launch him into a big push. Number 3. The worst. Logan Paul versus Cena in Paris. Where's Brock? John Cena opened SmackDown with a fiery promo that had the crowd roaring with love. Then Logan Paul crashed the party, getting drowned in boos and harsh chants from the fans. The back and forth was electric and set up a tag team match later in the night. But here's the problem. Triple H booked Logan Paul against John Cena for Clash in Paris, completely sidelining Brock Lesnar. After Brock's brutal attack on Cena at SummerSlam, everyone expected that feud to heat up. Are they saving it for Survivor Series? That's a long wait, and it's a letdown no matter how you slice it. Number 4. The best. Drew McIntyre crushes Cody Rhodes. SmackDown's main event was a big deal. Cody Rhodes and John Cena teamed up against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. The match was solid but short, ending in a disqualification. The real drama went down after the bell. While Cena and Paul brawled, McIntyre unleashed chaos on Cody Rhodes, smashing him with a jaw-dropping claymore into the announce table. It was a moment that looked brutal and set the stage for an undisputed WWE Championship clash. Triple H nailed this booking. McIntyre feels like a dangerous force again, and this attack was the perfect way to build their rivalry. Why John Cena is facing Logan Paul instead of Brock Lesnar. At WWE Clash in Paris 2025, John Cena will go head-to-head with Logan Paul in a one-on-one match. On the latest SmackDown, Cena spoke about Brock Lesnar's vicious attack at SummerSlam, making it clear he's not scared and won't back down from any fight. He threw out an open challenge to anyone who wanted a piece of the 17-time world champion, and Logan Paul stepped up. After a wild brawl involving Paul, Cena, Drew McIntyre, and Cody Rhodes, Paul challenged Cena to a match at Clash in Paris, and Cena accepted. Here's why WWE is pitting Cena against the YouTube star instead of the Beast incarnate. One big reason WWE might be holding off on Cena versus Lesnar is to save that massive showdown for a grander stage. Cena made it clear on SmackDown that he's ready to face the Beast, hinting that their next clash is coming. I fear him, but will never back down from a challenge. But with Cena locked in for Clash in Paris, Logan Paul seems like a strategic opponent to keep him busy before the big fight with Lesnar. This match feels like a stepping stone to build anticipation for that epic encounter. Another factor is that a Cena versus Paul match has been talked about for a while, but never happened. Inside sources have mentioned WWE's interest in this matchup, and Clash in Paris is the perfect moment to make it real. Paul's bold challenge gives Cena a fresh rival, even if some fans aren't thrilled about seeing the YouTube star in Cena's retirement tour. WWE's next big event after Clash in Paris is Crown Jewel Perth on October 11th, 2025, where Cena versus Lesnar is now expected to take place. Facing Paul first could set Cena up for a strong win, giving him momentum heading into a brutal battle with Lesnar. Beating the Maverick in Paris would put Cena in prime position to take on the mayor of Suplex City, making the road to Crown Jewel even more exciting. Cena's heel turn was a waste of time. John Cena flipped back to being a fan-favorite babyface after a short run as a heel, and it's got people talking. A former WWE champion weighed in on Cena's brief bad guy phase. At Elimination Chamber earlier this year, Cena stunned everyone by turning heel and attacking Cody Rhodes. He leaned into it, mocking fans and even snagging the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania 41. But just days before his SummerSlam match with Rhodes, Cena switched back to his heroic self. Now, with Cena back as a good guy, Drew McIntyre has his sights set on the legend. In a recent chat on the Sporting Capital, McIntyre didn't hold back about wanting to face Cena now that he's a babyface again. He called the heel turn a pointless detour, but said he's eager to take on Super Cena and send him packing into retirement. John Cena, that would be a fun match in Perth. I need to get one of those last matches. Now that he's Super Cena again, I don't want any part of these last 6 months. What a waste of time. Now that he's back to Super Cena, if that match happens, eventually, I'll be very happy to send him right into retirement. He's doing a great job in Hollywood. Peacemaker is amazing. I'll be happy to kick him out the door and continue the good work he's doing outside of the company. On this week's SmackDown, Cena hit the ring to talk about his retirement and Brock Lesnar's brutal attack at SummerSlam. Logan Paul cut him off, throwing jabs, and then Drew McIntyre jumped Cena from behind. Cody Rhodes rushed out to help, and together, they fended off the attackers. After the chaos, Cena declared he'd face Logan Paul at Clash in Paris 2025. It'll be a big test to see if Cena can take down Paul in France, especially with McIntyre looming in the background. The real reason why WWE pushed for Brock Lesnar's controversial return. Brock Lesnar stunned everyone with his return to WWE at SummerSlam, a move that sent ripples through the wrestling world. Inside sources claim the comeback was designed to spark a massive reaction from the crowd. Lesnar's return came despite his name being tied to the Janelle Grant lawsuit, leaving fans stunned that TKO greenlit his reappearance amid the controversy. On the latest episode of Sportskeeda's Bro Down podcast, hosted by Mac Davis, inside sources explained that Triple H's strategy was all about chasing a quick, explosive moment to thrill the audience. They noted that WWE would likely share a clip of Lesnar's return online, hyping it as a viral sensation. According to sources, Triple H's booking relies heavily on these jaw-dropping surprises. Listen man, we beat this to nauseam. Triple H is a one-trick pony. Pop, pop, pop. Pop in the match with the big move. Pop in the match with the kick-out. Pop with Brock Lesnar, pop with Money in the Bank cash-in, and then what do? They take the big moment and put it on social media so they can tell you 75 million people watched Brock Lesnar return. Oh my god, that's his card. That's how Triple H books. On this week's SmackDown, John Cena delivered a fiery promo addressing Lesnar's attack at SummerSlam. He stood tall, vowing never to back down from any fight, especially against the Beast. Cena made it clear he's ready for Lesnar whenever he steps up. Fans are left wondering what's next for Brock's in-ring career and if this return marks the beginning of another unstoppable run in WWE. A major update on Cody Rhodes not turning heel as expected. Talk about Cody Rhodes turning heel has been a hot topic among WWE fans for ages. Despite not being everyone's favorite, some see him as overhyped. A new report has shed light on whether Rhodes will flip to the dark side. At SummerSlam, he faced John Cena, who had just turned babyface again. Many thought Rhodes might turn heel, especially after The Rock's earlier pitch to tempt him into villainy. Though The Rock struck a deal with Cena instead, it was a huge moment. But Rhodes didn't go heel at SummerSlam, leaving some fans let down, though Brock Lesnar's surprise appearance stole the show. A Fightful Select report on Cody's potential heel turn revealed that, just like earlier this year, there's no plan inside WWE to make him a bad guy right now. The company loves the numbers he's pulling as their top hero. In an interview earlier this year, Rhodes himself hinted at his future, saying he's staying a good guy for a while. I think you have a good solid year, maybe even 3 years, because I am not changing until I'm changed, if that makes any sense, said Rhodes. So a heel turn isn't happening soon. After last night's SmackDown, it's clear Rhodes is headed for a clash with Drew McIntyre at Clash in Paris for the undisputed WWE Championship. A Rhodes-McIntyre feud has been brewing for a while, and with Rhodes winning the title back from Cena at SummerSlam, it makes sense. SmackDown needs strong villains, and McIntyre fits the bill. What if McIntyre pulls off a shocker at Clash in Paris, becoming the first and last challenger in this title reign, setting up something even bigger? The real dream match on SmackDown is Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Orton's been on fire as a fan favorite, shining in the ring and on the mic. But everyone knows a heel turn for the Viper is coming, and a feud with Rhodes could be legendary. When Orton betrays his former protege, it could spark a rivalry for the ages. There are two paths: Orton turning on Champ Cody to chase the undisputed WWE Championship, or Orton costing Rhodes the title to kick things off. The first option fits Orton's hunt for his 15th title, but if WWE wants to stretch this feud out like they did with CM Punk and Seth Rollins, tying up the title picture until WrestleMania might not work. Like Punk Rollins, this feud could shift between title and non-title stakes. If Orton screws Rhodes at Clash in Paris, it could launch the first phase, with either Orton or Rhodes claiming the championship later to set up a title fight by WrestleMania. Meanwhile, McIntyre could rise to his rightful place as a top star, facing off with names like LA Knight or Sami Zayn, who might move to SmackDown after last night. The best part? Orton's heel turn and McIntyre's rise could set up an epic war games at Survivor Series. On Raw, Seth Rollins, now World Heavyweight Champion, is stirring the pot with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and LA Knight, building a team of lone wolves. Rumors suggest Cena and Rhodes could join them, given their history with Rollins and the others. Similarly, Orton and McIntyre teaming with Rollins makes sense, considering their past with Cena, Punk, Reigns, and Rhodes. The road to War Games is already taking shape, and with Triple H's long-term storytelling and WWE's star-studded roster, it's shaping up to be a thrilling ride. Other names like Jey Uso, Logan Paul, or Sami Zayn could jump in, letting some stars focus elsewhere, but Orton turning heel and McIntyre holding gold would make things electric. Whether Rhodes, McIntyre, or Orton is champ at Survivor Series, expect both the undisputed WWE Champion and World Heavyweight Champion in War Games, either as teammates or rivals. Chad Gable's injury update 5 weeks after surgery. WWE star Chad Gable just gave fans a fresh look at his injury status while he's been out of the ring. The 39-year-old had surgery in early July after dealing with an arm issue that forced him off TV. To explain his absence, WWE had his rival Penta smash his arm in a storyline attack. The next week on Raw, he broke the news to general manager Adam Pearce about needing the operation. Today, Gable posted a photo on Instagram stories with an inspiring note. He's sporting a leg compression band, the kind used for healing and rehab, which hints that the ex-Olympian is making his way back to full strength. Do what you can with what you've got, wherever you're at. That's really it. Oh, and don't be a coward, he wrote. Right after his surgery, Gable shared on social media that he's diving into a side project. The former tag team champ talked about his passion for making films and editing. He said this work is sparking that interest again, and he plans to reveal more soon. Rekindling my love for filmmaking, editing, and working on a little personal project to share with all of you. I'll drop more details soon, but as for today, happy 4th of July. Enjoy your friends, family, and freedom, Gable wrote. Before taking his break, Gable named Ivy Nile as the new head of American Made and pushed the Creed brothers to chase the World Tag Team Championship. Sadly, the team hasn't found much luck without him around. Only time will tell if Gable's comeback can turn things around for American Made. The WWE doesn't care about the Wyatt Sicks. The Wyatt Sicks burst onto WWE's main roster last year in a wild debut that caught everyone off guard. This dark crew showed up on Monday Night Raw, tearing through the whole lineup and leaving destruction in their wake. But after that big entrance on the Red Show, things went quiet, with no real follow-up. They got moved over to the blue side and made their first appearance on SmackDown this year. Inside sources have been scratching their heads over how WWE's handled Uncle Howdy since he arrived. Played by Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy leads the Wyatt Sicks. On the latest episode of Sportskeeda Wrestling's Brodown, inside sources pointed out that Howdy needs a real rivalry to shine. They explained that the group's been stuck repeating the same message since day one because WWE seems lost on how to use them. They have no idea what to do with the Wyatt Sicks. So, we just keep replaying the same promo for the last freaking 12 months. He's Uncle Howdy, very good on the mic. He's very good on the promos. Put him in a freaking program, inside sources said. Once they hit the blue brand, the Wyatt Sicks zeroed in on the tag teams. They rampaged through every pair, wiping them out one by one, which built to a showdown with the Street Profits for the WWE Tag Team Championship. The Wyatt Sicks came out victorious, crowning Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis as the new champs. At SummerSlam 2025, they put the titles on the line in a brutal TLC match against 5 other squads, but they fought through the madness and held on to their gold. The MFT is a horrible name. Inside sources slammed Solo Sikoa and his MFT crew on SmackDown, calling out the group's name after their big night in the ring. The faction had a couple of showdowns on the Blue Show this Friday. They kicked things off with a tag team battle against the Motor City Machine Guns. Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley were still hurting from their brutal TLC war at SummerSlam, and Tala Tonga and JC Mateo made the most of it. A crushing chokeslam from Tonga sealed the deal, handing the win to the Rising Stable. On this week's Brodown episode with host Mac Davis, inside sources ripped into my family tree as a terrible label for any wrestling group. They even shared notes labeling Tala Tonga as just some huge guy, pointing out that weeks had passed since the 7-footer hit the main roster, yet WWE hadn't bothered building his story. Mac, I wish I didn't. I wish I still didn't know what MFT stands for. That is horrible, inside sources said. What do I have here? The Motor City Machine Guns versus Mateo and Big Dude. I don't know his name. I still don't know this dude's name. It's literally been 4 weeks. I don't know his name. The night wasn't all smooth for MFT, even with that tag victory. United States champion Solo Sikoa stepped up next in a non-title fight against Sami Zayn. The Montreal fans rallied hard behind Zayn, fueling him to push past the MFT's meddling. In the end, Sami snagged a massive roll-up win over the champ. Now, eyes are on whether this upset earns Zayn a crack at Solo's title. Carmello Hayes turned babyface. Since Triple H grabbed the reins of WWE Creative, he's shaken things up to keep the action fresh and thrilling. Swaps between good guys and bad guys have turned into a signature move in his playbook. Now, it seems like he's gearing up for another huge shift in someone's role. On this week's SmackDown, he might have dropped the first hints of Carmello Hayes stepping back into the hero spotlight. Melo's last time as a fan favorite ran from April 4th, 2023 to February 3rd, 2024. After 18 months on the villain side, he could reclaim that good guy vibe as early as next week's show. The idea sparked from a backstage moment last night. The 31-year-old star marched up to Nick Aldis, pushing hard for a crack at the United States Championship. Even as a heel, Hayes challenging one of the roster's nastiest threats, Solo Sikoa, and his belt turned heads. It feels like a quiet signal that he's ready to stand tall against anyone, forging his own road ahead. That kind of grit and drive is what heroes are made of, as they fight to create their mark. On top of that, Hayes kept his cool last night, ditching his usual smug vibe. The ex-NXT standout often stirs up trouble or brags about being the best, but this shift in attitude might tease that he's close to crossing over to the babyface side. In his chat with The Miz, he stressed doing things his way, solo. With all this unfolding, it looks like WWE kicked off Hayes' big character switch on SmackDown. Next week, the 31-year-old pairs with The Miz to go after the WWE Tag Team Championship, as announced last night. But that team-up might crumble soon, paving the way for Hayes to fully embrace his hero turn on the main stage. Carmello Hayes has been hunting for that defining breakthrough since hitting the main roster. So far, he's only claimed the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and he's still hungry for gold on SmackDown. Linking up with The Miz hasn't done much for him, landing him in scattered bouts without real direction. Odds are high that Triple H slides him into the United States Championship mix before long. That belt has lifted up-and-comers for years, handing them a platform to stand out. So, tossing Melo into that hunt could launch him toward the big leagues. Plus, squaring off against a monster heel like Solo Sikoa would naturally pull fans to Hayes' corner. It might spark his complete shift to babyface, something supporters have been eager for. Win or lose the title, this spot keeps Hayes front and center. The 31-year-old proved his ring talent and charm in NXT, marking him as a reliable force. That's why Triple H, as WWE's chief content officer, could line him up for a serious run at the United States Championship soon. The WWE called out for abandoning R-Truth's serious character. WWE fans got pumped earlier this year when R-Truth stepped into a tougher role, but after vanishing from screens for weeks, he popped back on the August 8th SmackDown in his classic funny mode, sparking a wave of anger across the internet. On this week's SmackDown, R-Truth returned from his break and crossed paths with John Cena. Gone was the intense Ron Killings vibe. He was back to the silly antics fans know well, with Cena messing with his head by claiming he sparked Cena's heel switch. After the episode, one fan hit up Twitter to call out how Ron Killings faded away, only to resurface as R-Truth on a regular SmackDown night. They pointed out he even chopped off his dreads right on air, yet slid right back into the goofy routine, calling it a total letdown that just made them chuckle in disbelief. So Ron Killings disappears from TV, just to come back and be R-Truth on a random episode of SmackDown? Mind you, he cut off his dreads on live TV, just to go back to this goofy character. What a waste. You just have to laugh. Another fan ripped into Triple H as a lousy storyteller. They said John Cena's heel phase bombed so hard that WWE acts like it never went down. The Ron Killings shift tanked, so they flipped him back to R-Truth. Plus, with all the major plots falling flat, WWE dragged Brock Lesnar back into the mix. Triple H is a dog's booker. John Cena's heel turn was so bad WWE pretends it never happened. The whole Ron Killings thing flopped, so they turned him back into R-Truth. Every top story sucked, so they brought back Brock Lesnar. One more fan griped that the whole shift from R-Truth to Ron Killings led nowhere. It feels like Triple H and the creative crew are pushing fans to erase the past 6 months from memory after Cena's heel flop, like pulling a trick from that old movie with the memory eraser. So that entire R-Truth turning into Ron Killings storyline was for nothing. Seems like HHH and WWE Creative wants us to forget everything happened in last 6 months after Cena's disaster heel turn, WWE pulling off an MIB here. The complaints kept coming as another fan slammed the messy plotting that doesn't add up, saying that's exactly why they stick with AEW. This is horrible, makes no sense. This is why we watch AEW. It went further when a fan noted R-Truth built real steam with a strong promo, but WWE squandered it by turning him comic again. They hit back at folks who bash AEW without cause, insisting this WWE move was awful, and they might as well cut Truth loose since his comeback changed nothing. Well, that's it, huh? Cuts a promo, had momentum behind him, did nothing, and brought him to being a comedy character. People like trashing on AEW for no good reason, but this is horrible. They should just let Truth go again. Proves no point in bringing him back. Fans are fired up over R-Truth's comeback because it highlights a classic WWE flaw, switching up characters out of nowhere without any logic, making it tough for folks to stay hooked. A lot of people figured the Ron Killings angle could bring fresh, real edge, but WWE yanked him back to comedy. Now, all eyes are on whether Truth and Cena build to something solid as Cena's final run winds down.